Merry meet and welcome to Jupiter's Radiance. I'm Taylor, and this card spread is for the last week of August or to support in identifying what you need to focus on currently and how best to use the information available to you. Or I'm calling this a life lesson card spread. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so for this one, it's going to be really nice to use a deck that has a little bit more general information. That way you don't pigeonhole exactly what area of life you're focusing on. And so this card number 1 is going to be area of life. And so it's not necessarily needs to be something very like concrete or detailed. That's why I'm actually using a tarot deck today, because between the major and minor arcana, those are associated with certain areas of life. And I even have an oracle deck where it has like the different seasons, and so I also could have done it that, or different, like they each have a flower or some kind of nature being that is associated with the season. But there's 4 seasons, so obviously there's more cards, and so just kind of like little examples. But essentially you don't want to get too detailed on the first card. And I also would recommend, actually, and we'll do it when we do the reading, but flipping over all 3 after. So you can identify your area of life first and then flip over all 3 so that you don't get stuck on anything. Because what really motivates this card spread is the fact that when you're having a lot of doubt around how to move forward or how things are changing, and this is to support in being able to recognize the foundations that you've been able to set that you're keeping, and maybe some walls that you're tearing down because when you first put them up it was just like out of need and necessity, not necessarily out of growth and maturity. So with that being said, we have card number 2 here is going to be what belief to maintain. Card number 3 is going to be what limiting belief to release. And card number 4 is going to be the new idea or belief to consider and open yourself up to. So not necessarily something where you're like, you need to take this in right now, but just kind of being open to the idea and considering it, like truly considering it. You don't have to take it in completely. And it's going to help you move away from this limiting belief as well. But this limiting belief is going to, like, there's friction between these 2 cards essentially, and this is your foundation of like, okay, I did do the work with this. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our collective reading. So our card number 1 is going to be 6 of Pentacles. So this is letting me know that the area that we're going to be talking about today is going to be around finances. The reason why I also really think it's more finances than, say, family or tradition is because the 6 of Pentacles is also known as the charity card. And so there's a give and take with the 6 of Pentacles. And so this is going to be talking about that. So we're not going to jump, that's why we're looking at it generally. I'm not going to look any further into what that card means right now. I'm going to focus on the beliefs here, and that's going to help expand what that card is trying to tell me in this moment about that area of life. Okay, and so I'm going to flip over all of them, and then we're going to work through them. Okay, so we have number 2 is what belief to maintain. So it being the 10 of Wands, this is kind of telling me, because this is being overwhelmed or overburdened is not necessarily something you want to maintain, but instead there is a deeper message here within your finances of the fact that something that's being maintained is that finances are going to be still strained, but there's a deeper message here of the fact that you haven't dropped these wands yet, but you are kind of like, you don't want to try to pick up anything else. If you do, things will fall down and you won't be able to carry them anymore, nor will you even want to get back up, is like the kind of energy here. So there's kind of this energy of like endurance and believing in yourself during this strained time. So very interesting with that 10 of Wands. Also, I apologize. You guys know how well I do with the handheld, so thank you for your patience. And so next we have what limiting belief to release. So the Knight of Pentacles, this is telling me that you've been in a state of review for a very long time when it comes to your finances. And so this is stating that you are now ready to move on from what you've known about finances. So there's an energy here of like who you've learned from is no longer going to be the person who can help take you forward. You're expanding past their knowledge set, and so that's why you've been in this stagnation, is because you've been focused on like, well, I've done all those things that that person has told me, and I'm not really, and now I'm trying to figure out that new direction. And so it's time to let go of this reserved phase and go into our Two of Pentacles. This is the new idea, which is more balance. And so there's this energy, right, within our finances of accepting the fact of like, hey, you've been holding yourself back, you know, as much as you do, but now it's time to kind of play around a little bit more and find a little bit more balance between your responsibilities and your joys, is how it comes across. And so a final message with this and the Six of Pentacles being here is trusting in yourself in the process a little bit more, that as you give, you will receive. All right, so we're going to go ahead and leave it for that today. Feel free to comment below. Let me know if this resonated with you, if you're trying this card spread with your own decks and how they're coming along for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I try to get these out weekly, but sometimes things happen, and we just trust that when we come across these card spreads, that's when we were meant to hear these messages. So thank you again for being here, and I will see you guys again. Blessed be.